Okie dokie, let's see if I understood this assignment correctly. I don't know if I did. So the first one, article by Monk, the evaluation tool was online retrospective pre-post design survey. And so they were measuring participant satisfaction of post-divorce or separation parents with an online co-parent education program. Or actually, I think they were about to divorce, and then they had to complete this education program before they could go through with the separation. And so how were they operationalizing success for their particular program? So they were asking in-depth questions for the purpose of internal program improvement to determine the success of the online education format versus the in-person format that they had previously been using. They went online for, I think it was when COVID hit, if that was that study. So let's see, number of, and then also, rather than just using the number of participants as a measure of success for the program, it also mentioned that this type of program, many survey researchers would just count the number of participants and call it good if there were a lot of participants, but that doesn't tell you anything about how good the program works, and how the participants viewed the program, if they thought it was helpful or not. So that's that, and why they chose to measure success in that way. It said the reliability of the scale was deemed successful as the preliminary questions of the demographic variables demonstrated a high degree of reliability at 95, I think it was 95% accuracy. So just with those initial questions, they thought that that sounded good, and that was a good rate. So they used that that method of questioning for the rest of the questions. So then, do I agree with how the success is being operationalized? So not exactly. I think that the only real way to know if the education was actually successful is to observe the parents interacting with their kids after the education takes place, and I don't know if that's even possible to really do that, so it would be kind of tricky. So I thought, like, the only real way to know if it's successful is to see them, or to do a follow-up survey down the line, like 6 months later. If you could survey the kids somehow, in a different type of questioning, but just to see how they're doing with each parent, or the parents together, how the parents communicate with each other and with the kids themselves, how that's going. But the parents, the survey results showed that the parents thought it was helpful. It's just you wouldn't really know. They could just be saying that to please the surveyors, the researchers. But anyway, so the pre and post. Okay, so it is important. I thought that I agreed with doing the pre-test or the pre-survey before the education session, and then the post-survey when they got through with it, to see how they thought they would do with the education, if they thought they would already understand the material, or like that they thought they knew how to talk to their kids about divorce and how to talk to their ex-partner around their kids. So those surveys revealed that parents thought that they would do pretty well, and that they thought they would know. I think that was like 94%. I don't know, maybe that wasn't tallied, but yeah, they thought they would do well. And then after the education, they realized, people would realize that they didn't know as much as they thought, and they actually learned some stuff. So that there shows the real measure of success. So going into it versus what they actually got out of it. And then, is this the best measure? Not exactly, as I think a follow-up study would be best to determine if it was successful in changing the outcomes for the children or not. What improvements or changes would I make to this program evaluation? Yep, so the authors listed some limitations. They said they should include randomization or a control group. And I thought long-term follow-up survey would be important. But I also wondered about the intervention and control groups thing, because if it's randomized and some go to the intervention portion and some are in the control group, unless I don't understand this, which is totally possible, the control group, if they're not actually getting quality education like the intervention group, are they then just kind of wasting their time, but they don't know that, and thinking that they're getting some education out of this, and they're serving their time and they're going to get their separation or whatever, but they're not actually getting the education in how to speak with their kids, and then their kids are the ones ultimately missing out, if that's the way this goes with the control group. That's kind of how they explained it, but that just sounds horrible and cruel, that a group would potentially just not get any of that beneficial education, and then the kids would, that would ruin their lives. So anyway, I should probably get clarification on that. So then the next one was about 4-H program going online this was during COVID for sure. So, the survey evaluation tool used was open-ended and closed-ended questionnaire. That was over email. I was measuring the participants' perceptions of the 4-H programs at home projects programs. So they would normally have them in person, probably meeting once a week or so. But then with COVID, they had to move everything online, and participants would get an email once a day, or each day of the week, with a new project and a list of things that they needed for the project. So they wanted to measure how successful that was, if kids enjoyed it. So by asking questions in a variety of ways and receiving feedback for how to make it better, because they asked for like a write-in comment section on how they could do it better in the future. And they thought it was successful based on the question that said, ask parents to respond to, was it beneficial for their child? And the average score was 4.68, so that's on a 0 to 5, so almost a 5, with a standard deviation of 0.73, so that looks successful. However, they only had 8.2% of their survey respondents, or the surveys they sent out that got responses. That was like 182 responded out of the some 1,000, like 1,800 that they sent out or something. So that's not great. That doesn't tell you that much. So do I agree with how it's being operationalized? No, that doesn't tell you much. So 8.2%. So maybe it is great, but maybe it's really not. That's just such a low figure to work with. Is this the best measure? It looks like the surveys were sent out via email. So, with so few responses, maybe they should have sent them out via text or multiple different ways, and then just kind of, I don't know, you could determine if I got these back from email and I got these back from text, and like filter out the names and stuff, and there you go. But obviously didn't work by just sending it through email. And then I don't think it listed all of the questions, but I would want to ask, you could also do a phone call. That might be best. just 5-minute phone call or something. And I asked the kids, did they finish, or the parents, did the kids finish their project? Did they enjoy it? Because maybe they thought it was mostly good for my kid, but if they only did like 75% of it and didn't finish the project, then yeah, it kept them from watching TV for that hour, so that's good, but that doesn't really tell you that they learned anything or really benefited. So the improvements that I would make, like a 5-minute phone call. So at least get some, it's good that they got honest feedback on how to improve. So it looks like some parents, just a handful, but put some thought into it and how they could do better. And that, it was about half and half, just a little over half of the participants had experience with 4-H, but the rest of them, most of the rest, did not have experience with 4-H, but they still, so that was a pretty good, a high number there. So that was a bonus. So that's, I guess, I don't know. I'm not sure I understood this very well or answered these correctly going through it, but thanks. Talk to you later.